If you're dealing with patellar tendinopathy or tendonitis, I want to show you 3 phases of rehab that you can do yourself to get on top of this injury. Now, how do you know if you've got patellar tendonitis? It's generally you'll have pain right here in the front of the knee, generally with going up and down stairs or when you're squatting. So there's the 3 phases that we have. The first phase will be focused on isometrics and mobility to decrease the pain and deload all of those tissues. The second phase is about introducing isolated strengthening work, as well as loading the tendon in a stretched position called eccentric loading. And then the third phase, and this is where we reintroduce some of those painful movements such as squats and front squats, so reintroducing compound movements, as well as plyometric to build that tolerance of the tendon again. So isometrics are really great for early phase of rehab because what they do is they actually decrease the pain while rebuilding the tissues in the tendon. And one of my favorite ones to do that has a lot of research backing it is the Spanish squat. So to do this, you want a fairly resistant band. Pop your feet through, getting a bit of stretch on that one. And then we're just going to come down and hold here for about 3 sets of 20 seconds. The key with this is we don't want knees forward. We want them to be fairly upright, and the band is sort of holding me in place. The next exercise we're going to do is the wall sit, which is really, really simple, but there's 3 progressions of this. So you're going to start with just your classic wall sit, sort of 90-degree angle of the knees. We hang out here, and if you can tolerate this for 3 sets of 30 seconds, we take it to the next level, which is single leg. Hold this for, I'd say, 20 to 30 seconds on each leg. I'd do the unaffected leg as well because that's going to transfer and sort of teach your body what normal is and sort of get you to progress faster. If that's fine and you're not getting any discomfort and you're able to tolerate that, then you can load it up even more and go to a close knee sort of wall sit like this because we put a bit more stretch through that tendon. Again, 3 sets of 30 seconds. Now, throughout the whole rehab process, it's important to make sure that you keep these tissues all deloaded. So I really like to use foam rolling, trigger balling to do that. So with your foam roller, the first one you're going to do is the quad. So laying on top of it, and you're just going to roll up and down, and you're going to do predominantly the side of the quad, and even into the ITB a little bit. Sort of about a minute on each sort of muscle is really, really good. Then once you've done that, you can go into your glute one. Cross that over, and then straight into there. So it's sort of the upper outside part of your hip. Again, 30 seconds on that one. Once you've worked through with the foam roller, next you want to grab the trigger ball. This one's a little bit more uncomfortable. The first tissue you want to work on is your TFL. So if you find the hip bone right there and then the top of your pelvis, it's kind of all along there. So again, laying down, pop that into the spot and just hang out. You can roll back and forth and then you'll find like a knot. It'll be quite sore. I'd hang out on that for 10 to 20 seconds at a time, then rolling back and forth. Then you're going to roll the ball back to the outside of your glute and repeat that process. Now that you've done the first phase for a week or 2 and you're able to do that without pain, we'll move on to the next phase, which is all about eccentric loading, as well as sort of bringing back some isolated quad strengthening. So the first one I like to do is called a reverse Nordic. So this one here, starting in this position, keeping the torso sort of in line with your thigh and coming back. Now, you may feel some pain with this phase of exercises. The key with this is to keep that pain sort of below a 5 out of 10. It's kind of a dull ache. If it goes up into a 6, 7, it's becoming sharp, you're not ready. Peel it back to phase 1, more mobility work. But if you're getting just a little dull ache only during the exercise and it's not hanging around afterwards, then you're good to go. Push through this. So this one, 3 sets of 10 repetitions for that. The next exercise is the ATG lunge, sort of made famous from the knees over toes guy. So to get into this position, quite a long lunge, and then really driving the knee over the toe, coming back. And this one, just gentle. You don't want to explode yet. Plyometric exercises are in the next phase. So just sort of taking that tissue to its end range, and again, 3 sets of 10. So the next exercise that we want to do to eccentrically load the tendon is a heel elevated squat. Just coming down, coming back up. Now, if this is easy, you're not getting any pain, we can progress this exercise and do a goblet heel elevated squat. I like to rest that on the chest. The reason being, if it's against your chest, you'll be sort of not forward loading it as much and able to engage your core to stay nice and upright. As with the other ones, 3 sets of 10. Now we've loaded the tendon in eccentric loading, the next step is to add some quad exercises with just isolated muscle work. And the best one for this is the leg extension machine. So we'll start with double leg, making sure that's comfortable and building strength in that position. Once we're comfortable with that over a few days to a week, then we go to single leg extension. And we're looking for about 3 sets of 10. So now that you've done 2 weeks of phase 2, let's move into phase 3, which is all about building tissue tolerance with plyometrics, as well as reintroducing some of the aggravating movements such as squats and front squats. So the first exercise you're going to be doing is just jumping, and we're going to sort of really explode straight up in the air, or from there you're going to do a broad jump, jumping forward as far as you can. Once you feel comfortable with that, then you're going to move into box jumps, and you can change the height of the box depending on how tolerant you are to that or the demands of your sport. Once we've done the box jumps, they're comfortable, then we can do landing sort of drills. So from the box, jumping down, sticking the landing and walking out of it. If that's comfortable, we progress to jumping down and then jumping and exploding out of that landing. Once you're good with that, we move into single leg, just jumping down, sticking the landing, then single leg, jumping down and exploding out with a jump again. Now, when you reintroduce the squats, you want to be really mindful of making sure the knees don't cave, driving them out, and sort of keeping the core braced and staying nice and upright. Now, like I said before, you want to make sure that the pain range is sort of under 5 for this one. So no sharp pain, a dull ache, pulling sensation, that's no problem. You can work into that. I'd start at sort of 3 sets of 5 and build from there. Starting with, maybe 40% of your 1RM and slowly increasing that over time. Now, you've gotten through the 3 phases of exercise. If you're still having pain, there could be something wrong with another area of the body. Usually it's either the hips or the ankles, and I'm going to show you how to identify that issue. But if these exercises have helped you, make sure you subscribe so you can have a look at other injuries that we look after, as well as how I treat injuries in clinic. So the first one will be usually a glute med sort of issue where that knee is sort of caving in. A lot of people, they'll think, oh no, when I squat, I'm fine. They're not dropping in. But that's because you've trained yourself on how to move. However, day to day when you're walking, you might be getting some knee valgus. So a good way to check is make it a bit tougher. Do an overhead squat, film that and see what that looks like. And that's going to give you more of an indication as to what's going on with how your knee is tracking. If that is fine, then the next thing you want to have a look at is ankle mobility. So a big one with this is if you can't allow that to come over, your pressure through the quads is a lot more. So the test I like to use, we get down against the wall, put your hand there and then your toes against your hand, and that gives you the right distance that you should be able to do. I'd recommend doing it with shoes off in case there is a bit of a heel lift, and then bring that in to there. If it stops there, then you've got a dorsiflexion restriction in your ankle, and that could be what's loading up your knee. Now guys, if you also have any other issues or having trouble with the exercises, make sure you comment below because I'll be happy to help you out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.